Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we've got a fun video. We are going to be talking all about eyeshadow palette steals for Black Friday. I have scoured the internet to find some of the best deals from some of my personal favorite eyeshadow brands or companies, my favorite websites to go through for eyeshadow palettes, and I'm sharing with you guys what I think are some of the best deals out there. So whether you are wanting to maybe try a couple palettes out for yourself or gifting a palette to the makeup lover in your life, I think there will be something in here for everyone. Whether your budget is a little bit more high-end or very low. Before we jump into it, if you are a new visitor to my channel, I want to welcome you. I hope that you enjoy this one. If you do, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and definitely make sure to subscribe before you leave. That said, I've got quite the list here and a lot of palettes to show you guys, so let's jump right into it. Alright guys, so these are in no particular order, but I wanted to start off with this one. This is Folklore Cosmetics. Now this is kind of a less talked about, more generic eyeshadow brand. It is an overseas company. These are made in China. I do own actually five. I have a smaller palette from them as well of their palettes. These are the two that I would most recommend. Now, full price, these palettes on their website are $15.99. I don't think they're worth $15.99, but right now for Black Friday, they are running a 45% off sale on their eyeshadow palette. So if you can pick these up for closer to $8 or $9, I do think that is a great deal. This is by far my favorite palette from them. It is the Impressionism palette. It's an all matte palette. It is meant to kind of mimic the Natasha Denona Safari palette. There are some differences, and this formula is not as good as Natasha Denona's, but I do think it's a good formula, and for the variety that you're getting, you get a lot of bang for your buck with these palettes. I love this color story. It is a subdued, jewel toned, colorful palette that I think walks that perfect line between versatility and wearability. I'd say this is the color scheme for the person that's kind of afraid of color, because none of these colors are overly bold, but you get a lot of variety in here. I do like their matte formula. I think it works really well. Very easy to blend. You do have to build it up just a little bit, but I don't find it difficult to build or to blend. I'd also recommend this palette right here. This is their Sweet as Honey palette. This one, again, is the same price. Full price $15.99, on sale at 45% off, going to be a little bit under $10. This is a really fun color story as well. This one does give you some shimmer. I don't like their shimmer formula as much as I like their matte formula. It is a little bit more sheer. You do have to build it up a little bit, and I do find you definitely need a primer with these eyeshadows, especially the shimmer formula. So I'm just going to swatch a couple of these for you guys. There's a few of them right there. The shimmers remind me of a lower quality version of, say, the Natasha Denona creamy shimmers. You know, the ones that feel a little bit creamy in the pan. They actually feel kind of similar to the Colourpop Super Shock shadows, but again, I don't think they're quite as pigmented as those ones. Let me swatch one more. I want to swatch this bright blue right here for you guys as well. So there is the shimmery blue. So again, they do work. They're not terrible. I wouldn't recommend them if I thought they were terrible. I think as long as you have a decent primer to work with these palettes, I do really like them. These are the two I would most recommend. And comparing these palettes to the rest of the ones that I'll be talking about today, I do think these are probably perhaps the lowest quality, but the most variety for the lowest amount of money. So best bang for your buck. And some of the ones I'd recommend for people that are an extreme budget. Now, as I mentioned before, they are made in China. They do ship from overseas, so you will need to keep that in mind if you're thinking about ordering these palettes. They do take a couple of weeks to get to you, so just be aware of that if you're trying to get them in time for Christmas. Next up, let's talk about some Colourpop. So I love Colourpop palettes. I think their formulas are great. They have, in my opinion, the cutest packaging and best formula for an affordable palette, which makes them a really good option for gifting. So I looked on the Colourpop website. It's a little bit vague what their deals are going to be when the Black Friday time frame rolls around. They do have some deals going on right now and some that will be coming up. One in particular I wanted to mention is their holiday palettes. They are called the Tête-à-Tête palettes. Those two palettes, which look so beautiful both in the color range there, also their packaging, are on sale right now for $21.75. I think that's a fantastic deal for two palettes of that size. Let me just recommend a couple more palettes for you guys just in case they do have a really good sale. First off, the Going Coconuts palette. Perfect palette that I think would work for the simple makeup lover in your life. I also really love their Blush Crush palette. This is a beautiful one that is also very simple but leans a little bit on the soft pink side. Such a pretty one. I love the colors and the packaging of this one as well. Really good gift option. I've really been enjoying the Star Wars Mandalorian palette. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but if you know someone that is a Star Wars fan, what a fun opportunity to gift this palette. And I do love the colors in this palette. They're greens made for the person that maybe, I mean, I would say if you know the person you're gifting for does not like greens. I mean, obviously there's pretty much only greens in this palette, but these are really good soft greens. I really love this palette. I've been having so much fun with it, and I think it's a perfect one to try out either for a Star Wars lover or a green eyeshadow lover. I also think a great gift option are some of their Disney palettes. I have them a Mulan palette. I just picked this one up. I actually got it the same time I got the Mandalorian palette. I've really been enjoying this one. I mean, I love Mulan. It's one of my favorite Disney princess movies, but they have other Disney palettes as well. So if you know the person that you're gifting for is a Disney lover, you can't go wrong with the Disney palettes. The packaging on them is adorable, and they always have really fun color stories and really great formulas. Next, I have a fantastic steal that I am pretty sure not many people are talking about, and it is from the company Coastal Scents. If you have been watching YouTube videos for a very long time, I'm talking 2009, you might remember the day when Coastal Scents kind of had a couple of years where people were really loving on their affordable eyeshadow palettes. You guys remember the gigantic rainbow colored palettes? I never actually owned one of those, but I remember people raving about them. Today, I'm not talking about those palettes. I'm specifically talking about their Hot Pot shadows. These are their single eyeshadows that are on sale right now for 99 cents a piece. So I last year stocked up on almost their entire set. And I do just want to say a couple of things. I don't tend to use these ones very much anymore, particularly since I have discovered Sydney Grace's single shadows, but I do think they are pretty good, especially for the price. And if maybe you can't afford to go the Sydney Grace route, if $5 a shadow plus the empty palette that you have to invest in to store them is a little bit too much for you, I think this is a really good and fun option if you're someone that likes to build your own palette or collect singles. Now, I can't get into detailed swatches on these ones in this video because I have so many of them that would take me all day to do that. And I do want to just say this, I haven't tried out all of these singles. I've tried out a lot of them though, and I do think some shades or formulas perform better than others. I think their mattes are superior to their shimmers, particularly their brown or neutral mattes. Take for example this palette right here. These warm browns right here and deep browns are fantastic. They perform as good as any of my Anastasia shadows. This shade right here, which is the shade Oktoberfest, I've had this shade for like 5 or 6 years now, is so beautiful. Most of their shimmers are pretty good, and I think their bronzy shimmers are fantastic and better than some of their other shimmers. Look at this one. Let me just swatch these two shimmers for you guys. So there we have those right there. Actually, let me take one more. So this shade right here is the shade Cherry Moss. It's an interesting, it looks kind of brown when you look at it, but it's kind of a rosy brown with a green shift to it. It's just really unique. So there is the shade Cherry Moss right there. Really fun shade. Let me just swatch two more for you guys. So this one right here is the shade Pure Bronze. I do think their bronzy tone shimmers are probably some of the best shimmers that they have. Look at that shade. That's really great. And then let me swatch this one right here, which is the shade Olive Wood. This does remind me a little bit of one of the shades from Sydney Grace. I think Bravo is the name of it. I don't think this one performs quite as good, and I do think, again, similar to with the Folklore shadows, these shadows you're going to need a good primer with, but I still think they're a really fun option if you like working with single shadows and doing it on a budget. Okay, so let's move on to Sydney Grace. I did just do a Sydney Grace video. I will link it for you guys right here where I talked all about my Sydney Grace individual eyeshadows. Now, I checked Sydney Grace's website this morning. They still have not announced or listed their Black Friday sale, assuming that they are doing one this year. I think they do one every year. But if you have been wanting to try Sydney Grace out, number one, I would say definitely do it. They are the best eyeshadows I have ever tried. Their quality, as far as I have found so far, cannot be beat in my opinion. And they do have really good sales, so I would definitely keep an eye on their website. And they're one of the brands that I've tried so much out from them that I can confidently say there's probably nothing on their website that's terrible. I mean, everything is exceptional. They're super consistent with the quality of their shadows, which is why they're one of the brands I most recommend checking out their Black Friday sale, especially if you are someone that really is concerned about the quality of your eyeshadows, or maybe shadows don't always last on your eyelids, or you're very particular about matte formulas. They are the brand that I just can't imagine anyone would not be impressed with their quality across the board. So keep an eye on their website. They do have a little tab on their website for their sales and promotions. There's nothing listed there as I checked this morning, but I'm pretty sure that will change as actual Black Friday approaches, which, by the way, is strange to anyone else that Black Friday this year has kind of morphed into like this random 4-week time span that makes it very confusing, I have to say. Next up, let's talk about some Juvia's Place, another one of my very favorite eyeshadow brands. They are currently doing a sale, 50% off of pretty much all of their eyeshadow palettes. I think some of them might not quite be 50% off, but they're all pretty seriously discounted right now. I've often talked about the fact that these are probably my top 3 recommendations from Juvia's Place. The Nomad palette is my number one. This is my go-to, my baby. I love this thing. My guess is many of you already have this one, but if you're looking for one to gift for the makeup lover in your life, I love this palette so very much. If you or the person you're gifting for is a fan of color, you cannot go wrong with the Magic Mini palette. Such a fun eyeshadow palette. Love the looks and variety that come out of this one, and the foiled shimmers in here are just, they're exceptional. I love Juvia's Places formula. Another one of those formulas that I think gives you really good bang for your buck. I also really love the Nubian 2 palette. Another one of my favorites. This is one of my first favorites from them and one of my first tries of the Juvia's Place formula. I still love this one. If you like blue and green, you will love these two right here. They are stunning. I don't use those ones quite as much, but all the neutrals in here just make the most beautiful looks you could imagine. Honestly, there's not a palette from them that I wouldn't recommend. The only palette of theirs that I have tried and didn't really love is the Wahala palette. That one's just a little bit too colorful for me and didn't have enough neutrals in it. I do have a couple of their mini palettes in my cart right now on their website. We'll see if I end up coming home with those ones, but those would probably be really fun options to gift as well and a little bit more affordable. I think on sale those are about $7 a piece. So yeah, don't forget about Juvia's Place. They have awesome sales going on right now, and again, I think these are really fun and giftable palettes because the formulas are great, the colors are amazing, and the packaging is super adorable. Next brand, let's talk about some BH Cosmetics. Another one of my somewhat newly discovered favorite affordable but really good quality eyeshadow brands. They are doing some sales right now on their palettes. There's not really a specific percentage off of their palettes. It's kind of different depending on which palette you're looking at. Some of them are 50 or 60% off. Some of them are only like 20% off. And one of the palettes I do want to recommend today is actually not on sale at all right now, but I would keep an eye on their website. I don't know for sure that this palette's going to go on sale, but if it does, I am telling you it is worth it, and it is the new Naughty palette from them. I did do a video on this palette recently and completely raved about it. You'll be seeing this in an upcoming video for me soon as well. Talk about a fun palette. I am wearing this palette on my eyes today. I basically dipped into some of these camel browns right here. I have this gold on my lid and then this champagne on my inner lid. So beautiful. I have yet to create a look out of this thing that I didn't just absolutely love. Even not on sale at $29 for the amount of variety and the size of the palette you're getting. If you are an eyeshadow lover, or you're gifting for an absolute eyeshadow lover, I think this is a really fun option. But there are some other options as well, some of which I myself am interested in. So they're palettes that are kind of in this format right here. This is the Love in London palette, a great cool tone, neutral leaning cool tone lover's dream. This is a really good palette, great formula. If you or the makeup lover in your life is into neutrals and taupes, this is such a good palette. I also personally love their Zodiac palettes. These are some of the funnest palettes in my collection. I think the packaging is really fun. I mean, they're ginormous like the Naughty palette, but they both have super fun color stories, really good quality mattes, and really nice shimmers. These shimmers are a little bit different. These are their baked formula. They are a little bit different. They're a little bit smoother and drier, but when you wet these, you guys, they are so blindingly metallic in the prettiest smooth way. I absolutely love them. Here's a quick look at the Zodiac Love Signs palette. This one just leans a little bit more pink, whereas the other one's a little bit more heavy on the cool tones and the purples. This is a little bit more heavy on the pinks and the peaches and warm tones. Both of them are beautiful. I think you couldn't go wrong with either one of these. Let me just mention a couple of the palettes that I am interested in that I don't yet have, but I've had my eye on. There is the Smitten in Switzerland palette, which is on sale for 40% off right now. $9.60 for this palette right now. This one looks really pretty. It has been around for a while, but I haven't gotten my hands on it yet. I've also been interested in the Avocado Toast palette. This one is on sale for 25% off at $13.50. Love the greens in this one. I've mentioned this before that this is a palette that I've had on my wish list for a while. Perhaps that one will come home with me this holiday season. The Love in London palette, which I just mentioned, is on sale right now for 50% off at just $8. That's a steal for that palette. They also have on sale right now the Santa Fe palette. I've had my eye on this palette for a while. It has been out for a couple of years, I believe. This one is on sale for $13 right now. Beautiful color story, and I think the adorable inside packaging of this one makes it a really good gift option for the holiday season. So those are just a few of the ones I wanted to highlight from BH Cosmetics. Love their eyeshadows. They're another one of those brands I think gives you really good bang for your buck, and I think their formula is better than the Folklore formula and also the Coastal Scents formula. So if you're weighing affordability with quality, I think BH Cosmetics is right up there with some of the best quality for the most affordable price. All right, the last one I want to mention on the affordable end of things is from Flower Beauty. This is a deal that came into my email box this morning. It is only running for 2 days, so I believe when this video goes up, this deal will expire tonight. But I think this is a fantastic deal. Right now, Flower Beauty has their Jungle Lights palette on sale, buy one, get one free. I have long recommended this palette. I mean, I call this an eyeshadow palette, but these are basically creamy, metallic, foiled shadows in a palette. I've said this before and I'll say it again. These are very comparable to the formula of the Hourglass Scattered Light Shadows. I actually think I like these better as far as the formula. You clearly get a lot more variety in these, and I think these are so spectacular. There are not a lot of metallic shades that I think compete with the best of the Sydney Grace metallic formula. These do compete with that formula. They are a little bit different. I think these are more of a truly creamy formula, but as far as the amount of reflectiveness that these will give you on your lid, it is spectacular. Let me just swatch a couple of these for you guys. I mean, look at that. Can you believe that pigmentation? It is stunning. Look at these. Oh, I feel like my lights are a little bit too bright. Let me turn this one away for a moment. There we go. Oh, look at that. So if you yourself haven't had a chance to try these out yet, and maybe you have someone that you think you could gift one to, buy one get one free is a great opportunity to do that. They are priced full price at $19, which I do think is totally worth it. I mean, you can't even get one of the Hourglass shadows for $19. So that's a great deal that I would take advantage of if these are still in stock when this video goes live. I highly recommend these. I think they are absolutely worth it. So that is it for the affordable eyeshadow steals. Let's talk about a couple of higher end ones. There are just a couple of these. First off, from Anastasia Beverly Hills. I really love my Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes, and they have some really good deals going on the actual Anastasia Beverly Hills website right now. All of their palettes individually on their website are on sale right now for 30% off, putting them at $31.50 a piece, which is a really great deal for one of my favorite high-end eyeshadow formulas. These are the ABH palettes that I own. I have the Jackie Aina, which is my very favorite, the Riviera, the Soft Glam, another one of my favorites, the Carly Bible, and the Sultry palette. They do currently have the Sultry palette available back on their website, but it only comes in a vault, unfortunately. So basically you get a box that has this palette in it, along with a full size of their eyeshadow primer, a full size liner, and a full size mascara. That set is $65. I wish they had this palette alone on their website, because I myself wouldn't really be interested in getting those bonus items. But if perhaps you've been kicking yourself for the last 2 years for not jumping on this palette, you're desperate to get a hold of it, that's an opportunity to get a hold of the original Sultry palette, which has since been discontinued, and it is one of my very favorites from them. But other than that, I think $31.50 for their other palettes is a fantastic deal. Again, they are one of my favorite high-end formulas. If the makeup lover that you're gifting for is into high-end makeup and maybe doesn't have a lot of it, these are really fun to gift because they are high-end in every way. They perform like a high-end palette. The packaging looks very fancy, which adds to the experience of not just using it, but also gifting it. And I did also want to mention they do have a deal going on their website right now where if you buy 2 of their discounted palettes, they'll also throw in one of their vault boxes for free. I'll put a picture of it right here for you guys. This isn't something that necessarily would persuade me to go for this deal. The box doesn't necessarily interest me because I think the palettes themselves are so pretty on their own. But if it's something that interests you, that might be a good option for you. And I think $31 per palette, I mean, even without the special box, I think is absolutely worth the price. All right, the last eyeshadow palette steal for Black Friday I want to talk about is one that I'm completely speculating on. This very well may not end up happening. I was really hoping when I did my research this morning and last night to see Natasha Denona announce that they were doing some Black Friday sales, but I don't see anything announced yet. But I'm not ruling out the possibility that they very well may do some sort of Black Friday sale. And my hope is that they do some sort of Black Friday deal, especially on their eyeshadow palettes. And if they do that, I want to recommend the Natasha Denona mini palettes. I have these 3 right here and I love them all so very much. What I love about these palettes is I feel like these make a perfect gift. They are full price $25, which I think puts them in that kind of giftable price range for most people. Really, even without a discount, but if you can add, I don't know, maybe a 15 to 30% off discount on top of that, I think that makes it even better. But I just really love these little palettes. I think they'd be really fun options to gift because nothing beats the wow factor of a Natasha Denona palette, even one this small, in my opinion. I think there's just something special about getting a Natasha Denona palette, not just because she's well known for her high quality and very high priced eyeshadows, but also her packaging just feels really fancy. I really feel like the makeup lover in your life would feel really special getting a small gift like this. I highly recommend all 3 of these color stories. Honestly, I don't know that I could pick one above the other. Probably my favorite would still have to be the mini retro palette. I love the looks that come out of this palette so much. I feel like these greens are very unique. I also love the mini Zendo, a really fun one, a little bit more colorful than the mini retro, but equally beautiful. And if the person you're gifting for is only into neutrals, I think the mini nude would be a fantastic option as well. Now that I've tried the 3 of these, I'd really love to maybe not collect them all, but I'd love to collect most of them. I just think they're so much fun, really good quality, and such luxurious packaging, which makes them really good options to gift for the holiday season. And if by chance you have a higher budget, and if by chance they do some sort of sale across the board, I highly recommend the Glam palette. I love that palette so very much. It is a little pricey, full price at $65, but I think absolutely worth it if it's in the budget for you and if you or the person you're gifting for is into cool tone neutrals. That's a beautiful palette. So we'll see. Perhaps I should knock on wood by talking about Natasha Denona in this video, hoping that they're going to do some sort of a sale. I hope that I'm not shooting myself in the foot, but I wanted to mention them because I have a feeling they'll probably do some sort of sale in the next couple weeks, and they are one of the ones I'd most recommend looking into if you're into high-end makeup. And with that, you guys, that is it for all of the Black Friday eyeshadow palette stills I have for you. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I hope it was helpful for you and gave you some good ideas and some palettes that you can gift for the holiday season, or perhaps gave you some ideas on some really awesome palette deals that you can take advantage of for yourself. Either way, I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I definitely have some wish lists that I need to start narrowing down myself. But thank you guys again for joining me today. Let me just remind you one more time to subscribe if you have not done that yet, and I will see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye!